So Riley's overall outing, but really just limiting the first and kind of settling out in after that.
One of the things, I don't know if he shared with you, but I just said on the air and, grabbed him after the first, some of that was just bad fortune, which it can happen sometimes to sinker ball guys, and some of it's kind of his own demise, where I thought he was just too adrenalized and too pumped up, and he was throwing really firm. But sometimes when the sinker baller guys do that, the ball flattens out, and he was throwing a lot of when he's throwing a lot of high fastballs, that's not good. And so his misses were up, and belt high. What happens is he jammed some people, but didn't get a lot of good fortune, because they were high enough to where they don't swing on top of it, and they end up hitting line drives into the field somewhere. And some of those, not to take any credit away from Memphis, but some good at bats, but just some bad fortune by him, and some things that he's got to work on and make sure that he's at the bottom of the zone. And I thought he did that really well from the second through the fifth. And again, some of those innings were really dominant by him, but some of them, an infield single or a base hit, and then he was able to pitch out of it, get a double play ball, and he knows he's gonna end up giving up some hits because of the way he pitches, but he throws so many strikes, and he keeps the fielders in the game, that I thought it was a terrific night for him.
Do you still like him where he was, around 80 pitches or so there in the fifth?
Yeah, and it's just I don't know if he's ever really been there, and we had a lot of guys rested, ready to go. We need to continue to run those guys out and get those guys innings. I just thought there was really no reason to really press him at this point. He wanted the ball, and he was, I think, a little disappointed that we'll leave it at disappointed that he didn't go back out, but again, I just thought he had done his job, and there was no reason to really push him after that.
Mike, what's your feel for the strength of this bullpen, that big picture that you've seen through a few games?
That's a kind of difficult question. What's my feel?
Yeah, how do you feel about the bullpen?
I like the bullpen. I mean, I thought we've been outstanding. I mean, besides a couple hiccups here or there, which we've played 14 games now, and really the bullpen's pitched a ton of innings. Because we haven't been great, at the start of the game, especially early on. I mean, you're talking about we might lead the country in bullpen innings, and with that, I think it's been the strength to this point. But it's nice. It's nice to see, even though that Spencer had a tough night on Friday, he comes out and looks super dominant here. It's nice to see Simmons get off the field. It's not always going to be perfect. It's not always like it's not always going to look like what Jones did. That doesn't happen in our game. Even if you're really, really talented, you're going to have to sometimes be pressed like Simmons was today, and still get off the field. And today wasn't his day, but he still was able to get off the field. And I like the bullpen. I like where we are, and continues.
Is his throwing and football change recovery plan or anything? I mean, I don't know.
It's tough. They just started today. He didn't throw a ton today. He said they knowing that we would play tonight, and he was a high chance for him to pitch tonight. He didn't throw a ton today. I think as we get closer, remember they're in spring practice, but then they're off for a week, and then we start conference play. And although he's been super valuable on the pen, we'll see going forward what that looks like, for them and us. But I've talked to Coach Kiffin, and he says go use them, do what you need to do, and I think everybody's mindful of that. The kids, tremendous athlete. You look at tonight, and could it have been some of the football? Sure, but it wasn't like the velo was way down or anything like that. It's just sometimes it's tough, but he's tough. He's a tough kid and handles it.
Fisher back in the lineup tonight. Just what did it take out of him to play tonight? And to
He's okay. He's got busted eardrum. It sounds really bad, but I had one, and if I could get through it, I'm sure he's tough enough to handle it. It's one of those where it's just a puncture in your eardrum. A lot of them heal on their own. His is a larger puncture or hole. So we'll have to revisit it in the summertime when he's got some time. Sometimes they need to be patched, they get a skin graft and cover it up. But it's nothing that's going to keep him from doing anything. He's fine, probably, once you get past the just getting hit and the ringing in the ear and all of that, And sure, it's painful. I'm not trying to take anything away from him after that. I mean, you're good. He didn't have any concussion symptoms or anything like that.
What's impressed you about Wade in 14 games so far?
I think he's the kid that we thought he would be. Last year it's a little easier to play. When you got some guys around you that are swinging it well. But I've been impressed that he's played left, played a little second. He's super aggressive, but he handles all pitches in his zone. He hits the ball all over the field. He gets hit. He hasn't walked a ton, but he's walked a little bit. He may have tied his walk total from last year. I don't know. But the thing that when I think about him right now that I respect is the phone call that we had in July, and he said, I want to come back because I want to go to Omaha. And when you have older guys that are that committed, it makes a difference. And so his leadership and the teammate, and we told him, we said, I don't know if you're going to, we got this kid from Duke that's going to, coming in as a third baseman. I'm not sure where you'll play. You'll play third, you'll play short, you'll play second, you'll play outfield. And he said, I don't care. I just want to go to Omaha. And so when you get guys that are that selfless and want to do those types of things, it makes your team a lot better.
Seems like that's about as good as Braden's been so far in those 2 innings. I mean, just strike, throw it, and not get.
And he's
a
capable of
chance.
doing that. I think we've all seen bits and pieces of that. And I don't. You're right. It's hard to do better than that. But I've seen him like that. And I think the key to him, and he knows it, is just to be consistent. And tonight he really did it with all fastballs. The first inning he threw 2 slider balls, but he came back and the fastball is just so dominant. He can get it's firm and he can get a lot of ride on it. And he threw strikes, but he threw some good sliders there in the second inning. But he can be a big piece.
Thanks.
All right, guys.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.